Welcome YouTube to another daily cast, and I do hope that we will find a good game today. Uh, so we do have Aviator and Tyrion against Grove Street. That is the Smurf of Mr. Boss, one of the highest hero also. So we can say that we have three high heroes in that game. And Mr. Boss is doing with Chucrutty, so probably helping him improve. So let's see what this game will show us. Uh, of course, we do have one side favored, of course, in Aviator and Tyrion, but let's see what's in store for us. And so the loading should be done in a few seconds. Sorry, that is my computer. But we do arrive in due time here during wave 1, so we will have some artifacts. I'm quite sorry for that, but we do see the king ups coming up on wave 1 for 3 of the 4 players. Aviator not receiving a king up here, but does go for the bounty hunter start. Now the question is, does Aviator decide to go for the 5 worker despite not having a 20 cent on 1? He normally does it, accepting the leak. He does have the right tier 1 to try it. But let's see, yeah, he does decide to go for a 5 worker. Chucrutty already queuing up the snail, so it might be an indication that he goes for another one. Looking more closely at the builds, we do have Grove Street, that is Mr. Buzz. So we'll call him Grove. That is 4 stacks Nekomata here. Oddly placed, I never saw that positioning for Nekomata, so it will be interesting to see where it goes. Chucrutty not pushing to 5 worker despite going for Oniflower and receiving on wave 1. Showing perhaps some lack of knowledge concerning the build here. Because if he only goes for a single PoE in front of the flower, he can easily go 5 worker without having this setup here. So that is something that he could have done here, just placing 1 PoE, hiding the ranger, and then having the ranger on 4 if you wanted to protect yourself on both 5 and 6. And also placing the ranger into a tanking position for wave 6 could have been much better for him. But let's see how it goes. We did have here the snail here against Aviator, but did not result into any leaks. So the Bone Warrior was correctly placed to allow him to hold that 20 cent. And might have been a missed opportunity from Chucrutty to maybe leak Aviator early with his bounty hunters. But let's see, Chucrutty is still saving, while Grove Street is getting income sent here with snails. He does have the Coda, he does have a decent tank, so this will be a hold. Tyrion only receiving a 20 here, probably indicating that that Grove wants to go for wave 5. He did send 3 times in the early game, 20 each waves. So let's see how and where it goes. We do have the Fire Archer already placed here. Could have been problematic, and it will be problematic here. The Fiend will go towards the Fire Archer if a Snail is added here. So it's all a question of how Aviator sees that coming. Does he protect the Fire Archer? Does he raise up the split? Those are 2 options that you can go for. And wait, what do I see? That is an upper split, so protecting the Fire Archer here a bit more with an upper split. But the Fiend still goes on the Fire Archer, so that's a bit unfortunate. This could result into a leak from Aviator here. We do have the recent here, 20 here, should be held by Grove. And here the 40 cent does hurt a little bit, but Daphne is already here for Chucrutty, so he will be able to hold that. And looking at Aviator's lane, we do see the impact of not protecting the Fire Archer or sending a Pierce unit onto your Fire Archer. Does mean that you will leak heavily. I've yet to find a way to make this build work. I mean, if I see it one time, I'll be gladly using it. But right now, the most promising one is to have an infiltrator here and boost it. That is the most promising way that I've found. If you don't boost it, then you still leak. So it's much better if you try to get that infiltrator boosted. So that is the most promising that I've done. Maybe there's other ideas from people, but let's see. Let's focus back onto the game here. Everybody at 7 workers except Grove. He was income sending quite a lot in the early game, but decided now to save. But now sending a 60, so a little bit counterintuitive here, not sending everything either. So making Tyrion think about how much lithium Grove has in his pocket here could lead to some overpush from Tyrion here on wave 5, feeling overconfident on wave 6, and receiving a brute resend. But this is still a leak on Grove here. Three quarter, pretty good, but if you don't have the front line to give time to the quarter to deal damage, you will see this kind of leaks. So small leaks here. But there was a leak prior to that by Aviator. So not the end of the world. Let's see how much gold this translates in. How much gold does he lose off of that? It should be approximately 25 if I read that correctly. And so it will be 3 less than what Aviator lost. But let's see, in total, yeah, it's a difference of 1 gold. But does work in favor of Aviator, because now he's back to equal with Grove here. Because if you look at the gold gain, also from the leaks compared to the losts, then you have something that is perfectly equal between Grove and Aviator. Now it's only a question of how's the worker count like. The worker count is in favor of Grove here, pushing to 8 workers. And sending to the overpush here from Tyrion, he is 100 under. This is 100 send, so he got baited by the send of Grove here. But the brute is getting sniped, so this is best case scenario for Tyrion. And we do have a disconnect, so probably a internet issue. I do hope he will come back very soon. And we do have a hold from the Only Flower as well. The AoE player not doing too bad with the flowers here, but 50% on Tyrion here still, despite sniping the brute early. And we do also have a leak from Aviator, so a very good lead taken by Grove and Chucrutty here on wave 6. But now you always need to think, okay, what does these leaks mean? So this means that the enemy team has more pressure onto you because it still hasn't sent, sorry. And so this means that you need to be prepared for a bigger send because this is more time. So there are some windows of opportunity for a counterattack. Aviator deciding to go pure income here because there is a cat paired with a deep quarter. So very strong setup on 7 and 8 for Grove Street. I do hope, yes, exactly what I was about to say. I do hope he will only focus on wave 9 because wave 8 and 7 is purely covered by those 2 units alone. And this Wanderer is just extra safety to be close to value, but this is value that is very good on wave 9. So glad to see it. We do have wave 10 that will be very well covered here by the AoE player, but this is one of these weakest waves. The mole is quite effective here, both against the Only Flowers and the Daphnes. So he will try and clear most as he can, but will not be able to clear. Wait, is he sniping the mole? He is sniping the mole, so this is quite crucial here to get those extra units down. Oh, barely gaining that one. Now, that's a bit unfortunate, but this means that the king will take less damage because the mole got sniped early, so the damage reduction does not apply anymore, and so you will see less damage taken from them. Also, a better cover as well in the middle, easier cover, shall I say, for Grove. The worker lead is now taken by Grove, already preparing for 9, knows he's strong on 8, and so he only needs to focus on getting a Samurai Soul on wave 9, or something like that. It's not obligated. You can go for obligated. You can go for some Doomsday. You can go for Chieftain as well. Both are very good. But with the income sense here, we do see Grove pushing to 13 workers. Knowing he's very strong here, there will be the income sense here from both Tyrion and Aviator, but this will only help Grove and Chucrutty here, because Grove can just decide to not push here. He already preemptively pushed, and that's what we call that. It is a preemptive push to try and yes, if you do a get a reset, this means that the following waves you will be closer to value despite not pushing workers because you've already done that. If you don't get a reset, you still have extra pressure for the wave you want to send on wave 9. So here you see, you do have Grove not pushing a single worker because he knows that he already pushed the extra workers that he needed. So very nice play here by Grove. And we do have the pack leader Brute. Onto the Nightmare here. So that will hurt quite a bit because the only tank that is decent here are the Alpha Males and the Royal Guard. And the only damage is Pierce, so this will be quite an interesting round to look for. We do have the Kingpin coming on Aviator. It is a low stack Kingpin though, so not ideal. But still, with the three brutes, sorry, this is three brutes and the lizard, that can be lethal if the Kingpin is getting sniped or disrupted by all those brutes. But as I say that, he has already sniped 2 of the 3 brutes, and so the Kingpin will be able to cover that. But will he be able to cover the middle? That is the other question. And it is reliant on how well Tyrion is doing here. And to be honest, he's doing better than I expected here. So only leaking the pack and 3 Carapace? Totally fine for Tyrion here. But we did have the Income Sen and King Ups on the other side. And Mr. Buzz still not pushing here, realizing that there's a lot of assault. But he is still in par in workers of Tyrion and Aviator. So you might ask, why do you do this, right? So there's 2 reasons. Either you want to protect yourself for 11 if you know you're weak, which I do think Grove is. He doesn't have any magic damage behind, and his damage is only quarter, so he needs that Lost Chieftain on wave 11. Maybe not Lost Chieftain, but at least some Pilgrims. Because he is dead to a Ghost Knight, actually. So that is something you need to keep in mind. And we do have Aviator trying to go for scaling here, pushing to 17 workers, not shy one bit here, and having complete faith in his Kingpin here. So insane push by Aviator, and he will try to scale with that. He is on value, and I can guarantee you that it will not be a lot of assault from him. It will be Guardian Angel to increase the value that he can obtain from that Kingpin. So we can see if I am right. I do think that Tyrion is also in the position to take Guardian Angel, but Protector is a good choice for him as well. But I do think that Grove and Chucrutty will try to go for a lot of assault. I do not see much units taking use of Guardian Angel, but Protector is always a safe one. So if they don't want to go aggressive, it will be Protector. If they want to go aggressive, it will be a lot of assault on wave 12. So let's see what they decide to do, because nobody decided to send here on wave 11 except Aviator, and despite all the income sends, we do not see Grove pushing that much workers, and I'm quite surprised about that, to be honest. But he might be afraid here from the lot of assault and also of the 17 workers of Aviator. And we do see Protector on everybody except Tyrion. Tyrion going for the Guardian Angel on the Doppel, hiding it, hinting the possibility of a possible out of assault. And we do also have Aviator hiding his Protector yet again, mimicking the out of assault uh, baiting the Outlaw Assault. So this means that Grove and Chucrutty will go for income here instead of going for a kill. And here, this is a big mistake here from Chucrutty. Going for a pack leader on wave 12 against what you see here is more often than not the wrong choice. And the reason being is that you do have the Kingpin, but you also have those chieftains. You already saw one, so this means that you can have a big fortified tank in front for wave 12, protecting your high DPS in the Kingpin. So let's see how it goes. But here also pairing the pack leader with king ups, not the best thing. So these are the small details here that can hurt you in the long run. So Tyrion and Aviator perfectly baiting the Sands here on wave 12 where they are strong and allowing Aviator to not worry about wave 13 and prepare for 14 and 15 with those pilgrims, with those gargoyles, and with those kingpins. So we do have 16 workers after the aftermath. Sorry, we do have 16 workers on Grove, 13 on Chucrutty. Still a bit low on workers, to be honest. 300 over value. That is that is someone who is scared or something. They want to go for a long save, it looks like, or he really wants to hold wave 15. It is very hard to see at this point what is his plan, but that is not something you are used to see, especially after that big of a send. Tyrion and Aviator are pushing ahead with 22 and 27 workers, baiting the send on wave 12 where they want it. And now the next obstacle is wave 15, which could be covered easily by Aviator by going for a lot of chieftains. But I do not see the option here for Tyrion to make a play to hold wave 15, so he's probably guaranteed to leak wave 15. So do they want to skip over 15, try to use the pressure by the Mythium and Worker to bait the sand on 15 and have Aviator cover it? Or will they try to go for a 15 sand to match them? Well, I say match them, but it is not unusual for players to skip wave 15 as well, especially with the value of Chucrutty here. Sadly, I cannot say if he has enough value or damage to kill wave 15 quite easily here. He has a lot of nature defense and very low magic damage. To be honest, next to none, except those flowers, of course. So it would be interesting to see what the parties decide to do. Do they decide to send into 16 against AoE? Do they decide to go for 15? And Tyrion and Aviator makes a statement, they want 15. And I do think Grove and Chucrutty should do the same. It is not ideal against Aviator, of course, but either you stick to your plan or you go for it. And I think income could have been a better play. Because there's no way that Chucrutty is leaking Aviator with the amount of Mythium that he has. Well, by saying that, I look at the value from Aviator, and he's quite far under, but he has only good units on next wave, so it will be interesting to see what is the outcome of that. And we do see here the sense on everybody, who is close to value, who is far from the value. Let's see that in detail. Okay, so Grove is finished building here. Minus 580, quite a fair bit under here. But the same can be said from Aviator, sorry. But he has 4 Lost Chieftains. He has this Green Devil with Protector. He has the damage in the Kingpin. So it's not the worst wave for Aviator. It's probably one of his strongest wave. So even though he's minus 300, minus 400, sorry, and he has a straight up chance to hold that. Tyrion spamming the Green Devils here, trying to make some sense out of his options for 15, which I'm still lost about. And we do see here the AoE build crumbling under the wave 15 and the Siege Ram Sen. And so we will have a massive leak here from Chucrutty. We will also see on the next wave, on the following wave, sorry, on the red lane, a leak as well, another small one. Is there a shaman pairing, everybody? No, there is no shaman, but this is two full bosses. And we do only see a leak on Tyrion, only leaking the boss. I would say pretty close to the best scenario that he could expect from his build. And of course, the sand doesn't seem quite good, to be honest. The pack leader going in front of the wave, the mole as well, so no range to speak of here. And everything getting sniped. But let's see here in details. Do they die here? No, they seem to be surviving. But at this point, is there any avenue to come back? The only chance they have is probably to go for a suicide from someone. And that is exactly what we are saying, I suppose. Well, no, Grove decided to push a little bit here. And same from Chucrutty. Aviator and Tyrion did also push here. They are quite a bit under, but they have the stronger composition. Well, I say that, but 17 seems quite dire for both of them. But the same can be said from Chucrutty and Grove Street. A lot of magic damage, not a lot of fortified tanks, so not a lot of delay. So the damage from Chucrutty, yes, you have your death knees, but what is preventing the others from sending to you back massively on 17? And what is preventing the damage from reaching those death knees? So let's see. We do have the siege ramp coming up. I mean, very good send overall against range DPS. That is pretty much all the DPS of Chucrutty is range. So it will be interesting to see how it goes. We do have Mr. Buzz going for the suicide. This is the suicide we talked about. But Chucrutty decided to push as well to try and leak Aviator. And what do we see here? We don't see much. Aviator only pushed a single extra worker here. But he will not receive the bigger send. It is Tyrion that will receive the bigger send. So it's all about the delay here. Aviator needs to delay the longest. He needs to be the one delaying. And on the other side, it has to be Chucrutty. Chucrutty needs to be the hero of the day. He will not be able to hold, that is a certainty, but he will be able to delay. But delay as much as a Guardian Angel double? Delay as much as a Lost Chieftain build? I think not. I think it is a valiant attempt, but I do not think the send of the suicide is the correct move here. Sorry for Mr. Buzz. Because Mr. Buzz is not sending onto Aviator with those chieftains. Massive delays with the Kingpin as well. And considering the size and the nature of the sand here from Chucrutty, the Hermit not having its place here, uh, Mole can be... well, you're reducing some damage, I guess, with the Mole, so it's still better than having the Hermit. But still, the nature of the sand is not the best from Chucrutty, so this might be a hold from Aviator. We do have a massive send against Tyrion, so this should probably be a leak. And we do have the one who did not push leaking first, and Grove leaking as well. Will the other team leak? That is the question I ask myself. So Tyrion is leaking, but do we have a hold on Aviator? And it is not a hold, but a very good delay, and it is indeed game for Aviator and Tyrion taking it against Grove and Chucrutty. So I think the mid game was pretty solid from Aviator and Tyrion, as we expect from them. I think Aviator is one of the best mid game player, especially when he has his Kingpin. And so on the other side, Grove did have a decent advantage, right? He decided to overpush here on 8 to try and build up pressure onto Tyrion. So I love this play. And the fact that he did not push after wave 8, I was saying, yeah, this is perfect, right? But after that, he kept receiving and never pushed. So I was like, you're going for a long save then. But you're not going for a long save, but you keep receiving stuff and you get scared on wave 12. Your initial tough was probably 13, so you might be afraid here, but you still receive 140 here. And you do have a fortified tanks. You just go for deep quarter here. and you're totally fine. So I think it's a little bit missed opportunity here by Grove. Got caught off guard by the high push of Aviator after wave 9 here, going to 17 workers, and so inflating a lot of his value, and so not feeling safe, and questioning if it is all the Mythium that he received. And after that, receiving 300 cent here from Chucrutty, pushing only one worker. It's either you go for a long save with that kind of push, or you just don't know your power spikes, right? So you never have pressure on Aviator and Tyrion because you decide to play it back and not push as aggressively. And so you cannot mount an attack for 14. You're nowhere close to that because you don't have the push. And so you're forced to matching them on wave 15 where it is the strongest of Aviator. So either you do that or you try to go for 16, which was probably their initial thought. Um, but looking at Aviator and Tyrion, they're not going to go 14 because Aviator is stronger on 15 and the Doppel will probably cover Aviator very well. He also had himself the Kingpin, so not at all afraid of his life on wave 14. And so overall, I think good mind games here from Aviator and Tyrion to try and uh, protect their weakest wave by undercutting and forcing them to send before and things like that. So those are the small details. Those are very advanced details. Like it's very hard to do because you're never certain if the enemy has a better answer. Will they be able to hold? Because if they hold your send that you do for the undercut and they don't send at the same time as you, then you're in a situation where you're in big trouble in the following wave because you try to protect your weak wave by pushing a lot to force the send on the same wave or force a big leak if they don't send. So spotting the right wave is often a very large challenge that only a few players are able to do, and I must admit, Aviator is one of them. So on that, I hope you liked it, and see you next time for another Legion Daily Cast.